Hello and welcome to this online offering of Quantitative Literacy Enhanced Math 120E. My name is Katie Life. I will be your instructor, your host, your guide. Hopefully we'll get to know each other very well by the end of this journey we have ahead of us. The purpose of this video is threefold. Number one, I wanted to at least verbally introduce myself and give you the opportunity to hear my voice. One of the downfalls of an online class is that I don't get the chance to interact with you on a week by week basis in a physical classroom, but I don't want that to hinder our communication. So you will be receiving videos and emails and printable resources from me throughout the coming months, which hopefully will foster some genuine learning connections and reassure you that there is indeed a human being behind all of these screens. Number two, I want to get out of the way some general frequently asked questions about the course. And number three, I want to help you all get registered with accounts in my math lab, which is going to be our primary learning platform. So let's go ahead and get started. You should be viewing this video as step 2 from the welcome email. So you should have already downloaded, saved, and possibly printed 2 documents that were sent as attachments to the welcome email. One was titled something like Frequently Asked Questions and should look something like this. And one of them should be a set of registration instructions similar to this. If you haven't already, I highly suggest printing them out and physically following along with me so you're not constantly pausing the video and flipping back and forth between windows. But that's just me. You may be totally fine not printing them out at all. We're going to start with the Frequently Asked Questions document. It's your job to fill in the answers to these questions as we go. Again, if you have them printed out, it's easier to just jot down some ideas as you listen rather than pause the video after each question and go into a Word document and type up an answer. But it's your choice. Either way, I will give you instructions about how to save your filled in answers toward the end of this video, along with directions about how to upload this completed assignment to me. Let's go ahead and get started. So our first question here, number 1, will we be using Blackboard? The short answer, no. We will only be using an online learning platform called My Math Lab, a product by Pearson. It will be our host for not only class materials like PowerPoints, notes, and videos, but this is also where you will complete all of your assignments, which consist of just homework and quizzes for this class. Basically, the only thing I will use Blackboard for is to send out announcements, and I'll repost the syllabus there as well. I like using Blackboard for announcements because it essentially makes class-wide messages available in 2 places. It will send the announcement to everyone's WVUP student email, and it will remain posted in the announcements section of Blackboard until I take it down. So in case you accidentally delete a message from me, you can still find a record of it in Blackboard. Question number 2, how fast-paced is this class? Or rather, what should I be expected to do on a week-by-week basis? You will essentially be responsible for 2 to 4 homework assignments per week and at least 1 quiz per week. Each section of material takes about 1 week to complete. For instance, all of the Section 1 material is due by the end of next Friday. All of Section 2 material is due the following Friday, etc. So you should try to pace yourself throughout the week to complete 1 full section. And you might be thinking, well, how many sections are there? We have 16 weeks in a semester. 1 week is lost due to a break, like a holiday break, and 2 weeks are lost between the first and the last weeks of the semester due to the drop add period and finals week. So that leaves us with 13 weeks, and hence you should see 13 sections of material in the My Math Lab course. Number 3, do I need to purchase anything? And if so, how long do I have? Since the ebook is included in the platform, you only need to purchase access to My Math Lab. You do not have to purchase the full access right away, though. We'll talk more on that later. That being said, to be in a Math 120E course, you must simultaneously be enrolled in a Math 120 course. So you shouldn't need to purchase 2 separate access codes. Math 120 and this class, Math 120E, use the same textbook, so they can also use the same access code. Once you update one course to full access, the other one will automatically update too. I hope that makes sense. In short, one access code will cover both Math 120 and Math 120E. They will show up in the My Math Lab dashboard, which we're going to see in a little bit whenever we register. They'll show up as two separate tiles, one for Math 120 and another one for Math 120E. They are not the same course. You are required to have a TI-30XS calculator for Math 120, and that will work perfectly fine for Math 120E. Higher level mathematics courses at the college do require like a TI-83 or a TI-84, but the calculator of record for Math 120 will also work for this class. Question number 4, what is the difference between Math 120 and Math 120E anyway? This is a very common question, and a lot of students, even some instructors, refer to this class, Math 120E, as a lab. I personally do not like to call it a lab because that gives the impression that Math 120E is supposed to like review or directly link material you're concurrently learning in Math 120. That is not the case. Let's be very clear about this up front. Math 120 and Math 120E are two totally different math courses. Yes, they are linked in OLSIS in that you need to complete one in order to pass the other. But make no mistake, they cover separate material. Instead of taking a developmental class your first semester and then moving into the credit-bearing course your second semester, you're taking them at the same time right now. I know that seems funky, but think about it this way. I have this table put in your syllabus. I'm just going to pull it up real quick. This table shows the progression of material in both classes side by side. So the leftmost column that's kind of orangish is the Math 120 material, and then the right column that's yellow is the Math 120E material. In the first 2 weeks of Math 120, you cover inductive and deductive reasoning. In the first 2 weeks of Math 120E, you cover whole number arithmetic, fractions, mixed numbers. And most students by the end of the second week are like, why the heck are these two courses not matching up? We begin Math 120 with the deductive and inductive arguments because they don't require much in terms of skill manipulating real numbers. It's more of an exercise in logic and reasoning. So while that brain training is going on in the first 2 weeks of Math 120, in Math 120E, we start to prep the foundational skills that you're going to rely on 2 weeks later in Math 120. So weeks 1 and 2 in Math 120E are essentially prepping weeks 3 and 4 in Math 120. Weeks 3 and 4 in Math 120E prep weeks 5 and 6 in Math 120. And by prep, I don't mean that you're going to be hearing the same information twice. For example, to be successful in Chapter 4 material in Math 120, where we're manipulating interest formulas and working a lot with percentages and exponents, we preemptively refresh concepts like converting percentages to decimals, order of operations, working with positive and negative numbers. We preempt all of those kind of foundational skills in Math 120E 2 weeks prior to that. So by the time you need to use those skills in Math 120, you're ready to go. So we're saving precious class time in the credit-bearing course. I don't have to spend time in Math 120 going over the rules of exponents just to solve a basic compound interest problem, because you'll have already mastered those skills in Math 120E in the prior 2 weeks. I hope that clarifies what we're trying to accomplish in these two courses. One is a prep course for the other. It's kind of a just-in-time remediation for the credit-bearing course. They're not going to be the same material, though. They are going to feel like two separate courses because they are two separate courses. So I try to give a little bit of rationale next to the table here in your syllabus in case you want to, digest that information again. But yeah, that should cover our fourth question there, the difference between the two classes. Question number 5, what if I don't have internet at home? Well, not to be blunt, but you absolutely need as much access to the internet as possible in order to complete this course. Utilize your local library, make use of the campus computer labs, the tutoring center, the campus library. Do what you need to do. I cannot make exceptions for students who willingly sign up for an online course knowing that they don't have internet at home. If you know that this is an issue up front, do not also make it an excuse to not complete your work. Be proactive in finding a solution now rather than later, and claiming stuff like, well, I've been waiting several weeks for Suddenlink to come and install something, just isn't okay. Be your own best advocate and make a plan in the meantime to get done what you need to get done. Question number 6, can I complete this course in the 14-day free trial period? Technically, you could. Every single assignment is made available for completion on the first day of class, but you would have no life if you tried to do that. This question actually brings up a really good point about the pacing. The goal is to either be ahead or at the very least on pace with the due dates that are in my math lab. There's really no point to this class if you are completing Math 120E work after the due date has passed. It's supposed to be prep for Math 120. So if you're completing week 7 homework in Math 120E after week 9 in Math 120 is over, you've totally missed the entire purpose and design of these two courses running together. So yeah, you feel free to work ahead. That is encouraged even. But you really got to at least stay on pace with the due dates. That's what makes 120 and 120E work together in the way that they're supposed to work together. They're designed to be one as a credit-bearing class and one as the support course, as needed. Okay, question number 7. What if I miss a quiz? You can still complete any quiz after the due date has passed, and that goes for the homework too. This class is not meant to be a sand trap of due dates. It's meant, again, to function as just-in-time remediation for the credit-bearing course. So you can work on anything at any point. There's really no penalty for going beyond the due date. They are there to basically keep you on track and hold you accountable. All right, last question. Is this a pass-fail kind of class, or do I receive an actual letter grade? And does it get averaged in some way with my grade from Math 120? Math 120E is not pass-fail. Your transcript will show a letter grade for this course. Your scores from Math 120 and Math 120E are also totally separate. However, being able to move on from Math 120 is contingent on passing Math 120E. So for instance, you could get a C in Math 120, but if you don't pass Math 120E with a C or higher, then you have to take Math 120 again. You have to pass Math 120E, and for most programs, that's a C or better. It's not going to affect your overall GPA if you earn a C in this class, Math 120E, because it's a 0 credit support class. But employers will still be able to see that C on your transcript, right? It's still part of your record. Okay, that was our last question. So now that we have answered all of the frequently asked questions, we are going to move on to registration. If you've been filling out this document on the computer as we go, just minimize the window for now. We're going to come back to it later after we've gone through the registration process. I will also show you how to upload that filled in document to my math lab. If you printed it out and followed along, you can type up your answers later and complete the same upload process. So just hold on to it for now, and we're going to get ourselves in the learning platform. A few things I want to say before we get into the thick of things. Number 1, steer clear of Safari and Internet Explorer. As you can see, I've pulled up my browser here. Chrome and Firefox have always been the best supporting browsers in my experience. Not to say that couldn't change, but they have been, the least troublesome. You also want to, whenever you start your registration process, in the upper right-hand corner where the URL bar is, you'll probably see like a little symbol, maybe a red box or something. Right-click it and make sure that you always allow pop-ups for the site that we're going to. A lot of the homework in my math lab when you click on it, the problem actually appears in a separate window, kind of like a dialog box. So if you don't allow pop-ups, it looks like there's nothing to do for that question or that it's not loading properly or something. So long story short, for My Math Lab, you're going to have to right-click that little symbol and always allow pop-ups for the site. Also, before we get started, I'm going to be going through 2 sets of registration instructions. The first are going to be directions for those of you who have never used a Pearson product before. I'm going to demonstrate how to register if you're a returning user after that. So maybe you've already taken like Math 119 or Math 121 or something like that in a previous semester. In that case, you're already going to have a My Math Lab username and password. If that applies to you, I don't want you to create a new account. You can reuse the same thing from a previous semester, but I'll show you how to do that after I get the new users in. Lastly, I want you to go through this process, these registration instructions. Let me pull them up here again. I want you to go through these instructions with me, whether you're a new user or you're a returning user. I want you to do this even if you're not ready to purchase the full access on the first day. I strongly advise students to opt for temporary access whenever purchase is prompted, even if you already bought an access code like from the bookstore or somewhere. The reason is because thousands of students across the country are going back to school roughly the same day, week that everybody else is, and Pearson's trying to process all of their registration codes at once. So the temporary access option has been faster and a lot more efficient in getting everyone registered and up and running on the first day with very little to almost no wait time. So this free access actually lasts for 14 days. You can put in a purchased access code at any point leading up to that 14th day. But by the end of that time, if you haven't purchased the full access, you get locked out. Not that you lose all of your information. Everything you've completed up to that point will be saved. You just can't log in until you purchase the full access. So enough of my gabbing. Let's get going here. You're going to go to www.pearson.com/mylab. Another quick way of getting to the sign-in page is actually just to go to coursecompass.com. That's a lot easier for me to remember for some reason. www.coursecompass.com. This is the sign-in page. It's also the registration page. You'll see this every time that you're trying to get into our course. So again, I'm going to start with those of you who have never had a Pearson account before. We're going to create an account for the first time. So under register in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to click the student button. And then you're going to click OK, register now. And in the dialog box in the center, it says enter course ID or program ID. On your registration instructions, this is step number 4. Enter the instructor's course ID. It should be in blue, my last name, and then a series of numbers. So we're going to go ahead and enter that in the dialog box. And then hit continue. Okay, verify in the upper right-hand corner that this is indeed the course you're trying to register for. Make sure that information makes sense. And then, again, those of you, you're doing this for the first time, you're going to hit create under create a Pearson account in the center of the page. Now, your email address is actually going to be your username. It's also a way for me to contact students directly in the learning platform. So make sure it's your student email, your WVUP email. I really don't want messages going to a personal email. A lot of times they go to the spam folder or they get blocked or something like that. So make sure you're using your student email when you're creating your account. I can't use my WVUP email because I already have an account. So I'm just going to put in a fake email here just to show you what all the pages look like. Once you enter the email and then you click down into the username field, it will automatically populate with whatever email you chose. Should be your student email. And then type in a password. Right now would be a good time to write it down so you don't forget or lose it. And then first and last name. My fake student is Peggy Snowflake. Pick a security question. What town was I born in? I I wasn't born in Parkersburg, but Peggy Snowflake was. Okay, agree to the terms and use of the privacy policy. You don't need to click anything in the middle here. We should all be above the age of 18 and not enrolled in a middle school or high school. And then also click that you don't wish to receive information about Pearson products and create account. Okay, at this point, again, it's going to prompt you for purchasing something, the full access. You don't have to do that. They kind of hide the free 2 weeks at the bottom here. It's a little blue link that says get temporary access without payment for 14 days. Go ahead and click there, please. And yes, I'm sure I want temporary access. Alrighty, and it looks like our registration is being processed. So sometimes underneath this little box here, there'll be a button that says go to my course. If you're creating an account for the first time, it might not have that button to it. But what you want to do is close your browser and then take 2 minutes and try and sign into the course. You know, shut down or something and then try logging in. Just give it a moment to process that registration. In the meantime, I am going to work with those of you who are returning users. So you have a username and a password. You've used a MyMathLab product before. So let's try and get you into a new course. So www.coursecompass.com. We're going to hit the sign in button and put in your username and your password from a previous semester. And this should look familiar to those of you who are returning users. There's probably some leftover tiles from maybe classes that haven't quite expired yet. In the upper right-hand corner, though, you're going to see a button that says Enroll in a Course. Click that. And then just like in those that were creating a new account, you're going to put in our course ID in the dialog box in the center. And you're going to hit continue. Also click get temporary access without payment for 14 days. And again, since I'm a returning user, we can see here's the button, that go to my courses button. You can click on that and you should hop right back into the dashboard and see the new tile for Math 120E. Now, I'm going to say this again. Math 120 and Math 120E are two different courses, two different course IDs. So if you are simultaneously enrolled in both of these classes, you should see one tile for Math 120 and you should see another tile for Math 120E. They are not the same course in MyMathLab. You're working in two different little squares here. So to do math in the credit-bearing course, you got to go through the tile that says Math 120. To do the work for the support course, you have to go through this tile, my tile, that says Online Math 120E CRN 5514 Quantitative Literacy Enhanced. Make sure you're aware of which one you're working in, when it comes time. Okay, so I'm going to sign out and I'm going to close my browser and I'm going to test getting back into the course just to make sure my registration was complete. www.coursecompass.com. I'm going to try signing in. And when you sign in for the first time as a new user, it'll have you agree to the privacy policy. It'll have you select a country. Obviously, we want to select the United States and make sure the language is English, unless that doesn't apply to you, but make sure that you're doing that. Okay, did you notice that I got an error there whenever I agreed to the privacy policy? It said something like, please make sure you register before you sign in. I don't know why it said that, but I'm signing in again. I'm going to enter my country, United States. I'm going to hit OK. And then it will prompt you for verification from like a mobile phone. You can put in a cell phone number and then have it text you a code. So in case you forget your password, that's one easy way to reset it. But you don't have to do that. You can click skip at the bottom. Yes, I want to skip. And there we go. I got into the course. Everything looks good. So to actually enter the course, all you have to do is click on the title, and it loads into what we call the course homepage. So the left side is our navigation menu, goes to all the different tabs where we'll be completing some work. The middle of the page is the course calendar. Whenever you highlight over different items, it will tell you when certain stuff is due. So here there's a little clock on January 24th. Shows me that some homework and a section quiz is going to be due at that time. This is just kind of the course at a glance. The course homepage just gives me some general information. We're going to wrap up this video now that our registration is done and we've gotten all our questions answered. We'll save the details about how you complete stuff for the next video that I'm going to send you. So to wrap up, I need you to do two things for me. Open up that frequently asked questions document, and we should have, answers typed into all of our questions here. So I'm just going to put in some filler real quick. I've answered all my questions, all the stuff we talked about. At the very bottom, after question 8, pick a different font and make some kind of comment to me about how this went. Do you feel like, this was worth your time? Was it helpful to go through some of these questions? Do you have a follow-up question to any of the above 8 things that we talked about? Are you struggling with the registration process? Just let me know how it went. Give me some kind of comment down here before you save. Okay, so make some kind of comment to me about what you're feeling right now. And then go up and do a file save as, and we're going to put this on the desktop so it's easy for me to find. And in the file name itself, make sure that your name is in the file name. So where it says student, delete that and put in your name. So my fake student was Peggy Snowflake. I'll put her name in here. Peggy Snowflake, frequently asked questions, Math 120E, and then save it somewhere you can find it. And then go back to your browser in the My Math Lab course, and we're going to upload this document to My Math Lab. So make sure your document's closed in Word, and then follow me here. On the left-hand menu, at the very, very bottom, there's a tab that says Course Tools. Click on that. And then click on Document Sharing. At the very top of the page, you should see under Document Sharing Categories, you should see a folder labeled Registration Assignment. That's where we're going to put the document that we just completed. So we're going to click that folder to open it. You'll know you're in that folder because it has a little black arrow next to it. So once you click on the folder, then you're going to click Upload Document, and leave the share file option as instructor only. And under Find New File, click Choose File, and then go to wherever you saved it. I put mine on the desktop, so that's where I'm going to go grab it. Open it, and then click Upload Document. It'll ask you to put in a description. Doesn't really matter what you type here. It's just like a little caption beneath your upload. I'm going to write answers to frequently asked questions assignment. And then you're going to click Add Entry. And there it is. You should be able to see your file there. If you can click on it and download it, your name and the date and time at which you uploaded it. So that is that. I will sign off for now. Look for another video for me on the first day of class, going over a little bit more detail about what's in the syllabus, what you should be expected to do, where to find it, all of that good stuff. We'll go over in more detail in the next video. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to working with you all. Enjoy your time until the semester kicks off officially. We'll see you later.